Welcome back to Fasting Performance then. My name is Tim Davies, and as you can see, we are back in the attack shack, dropping truth bombs on your personal battlefields, helping you to win the wars you are fighting. And the wars we are all fighting today is one about unregulated migration. Guys, I'm going to show you a few things today. I've got a screen up next to me right now. Some crazy stuff I've been following through the week. And as opposed to have kind of like a centralized theme, I'm just going to throw stuff out. There's so much happening at the moment. It's overwhelming, and I think it's all by design. So this is a theatre here, and I'll turn the volume down a little bit, but this was occupied by some African migrants that have come in because they've been welcomed into this theatre for talks and speeches, and they haven't left. They haven't left. They've been welcomed to this theatre, and they haven't left. They've been there for something like 30 days. Let's have a look at this story. Left-wing Parisian theatre is hosting a conference on December the 10th, and it was reinventing the welcome for refugees in France. 250, there's now 300, African migrants will be allowed in. So the theatre's been occupied for 35 days because the migrants refused to leave. The Daily Mail's done an article on it, of course it has. French leftist theatre facing bankruptcy after opening its doors. Oh, you gotta laugh, come on. What am I the only person finding this funny? This is leftism. This is the disease that is like new socialism, isn't it? Mini Marxist. Let's help out everyone, shall we? Everyone should be for free. I've got people in my family that believe about open borders, and I say to them, do you lock your house at night? And they're like, yeah, I do. Well, it's the same reason we shut our borders, or we should do. They refuse to leave, and they remain in the building 5 weeks later. A theatre in Paris, which is known for its radical shows and exhibitions, has been occupied by more than 250 African migrants after they were let in for a free event 5 weeks ago. I mean, it's funny. Also, I'm going to drop some humorous stuff in here, guys, because the world is a little bit serious right now. We need to have a bit of a laugh, don't we? This is not the only story we're doing, by the way. Look, if Fate is going out of business after weeks without revenue from ticket sales and has to cancel all performances at least January 24th. Oh my goodness. Look, it says here, its management said last week, the number of people taking shelter in the theatre is continuing to increase and has swelled to around 300 people. The sanitary conditions are deteriorating day after day, and the teams are facing this situation alone. Well, you made your bed, mate, didn't it? You make your bed, you got to lie in it. That's what I say. And look at some of these pictures. All these people in here, look, sleeping on tables, ping pong tables on the floor. This is incredible. It's amazing, really, to think that this kind of stuff happens. Or is it really? Because we've done this, haven't we? We've said, oh, come in. Yeah, we don't need borders, do we? Let's look at some other stuff. Look, they are ruining my business, the manager, Ella, herself, the daughter of Algerian migrants, told the Times. They hang around outside my terrace, smoking joints and fighting among themselves. It's you import the third world, you become the third world. And that's exactly what's happening, not only in Paris here, it's happening in Germany, it's happening in our country, in England as well. And it's because we got this kind of nonsense. Rapist can't be deported because he's bisexual, judge rules. I wrote, well, okay, just deport him and see how quickly he becomes not bisexual. I think he was supposed to go to Jamaica, but I think Jamaica take a dim view of this. And the other one here I found very interesting. We're going to look at some statistics on this now. So London, the Westminster City Council, has posted a DI job in recruitment ad that says whites will be discriminated against. It literally says this. It says this. The council is seeking someone from the global majority. Now, why is that global majority term come up? It will say it will use positive discrimination against white applicants, which is pretty much what the Royal Air Force said. Now, why has that come up then? Why are they starting talking about global majority? Well, it's an interesting one, really, isn't it? Here's the first one. There's your salary, all that kind of stuff. The second one here, let's see if you can see it clearly. I'll just minimize myself a little bit smaller. There you go. The council is committed to achieving diverse shortlists to support our desire to increase the number of staff from underrepresented groups in our workforce. This is Westminster Council, of course. We especially encourage applications from a global majority. Now, the reason it can't say from ethnic minorities anymore is because minorities are not a minority in London anymore. They are actually the majority. London is 37% white, as I've said. So they're looking for people who are black, Asian, brown, dual heritage, indigenous to the global south, or have been racialized as ethnic minorities, formerly known as BAME. I thought that was black, Asian, and minority ethnic, but I'm probably corrected there. While the role is open to all applicants, we will utilise the positive action provisions of the Equality Act. Good luck with this, by the way, because it will not work for you, and I'll explain why. To appoint a candidate from a global majority background where there is a choice between two candidates of equal merit. You're not. The reason it can't happen, and I'll tell you why now. If you're from a global majority background, you can self-declare this on a hiring manager to the hiring as part of our positive action commitments. The Air Force fell foul of this because of me, because I bloody did that, and I said to them, "Look, Air Force, you're being a bunch of dicks." And the truth was, they were being a bunch of dicks. They said we got wrapped up in some weird legal shit, Tim. I'm like, yeah, of course you did, mate, because I knew exactly what you were trying to do, and it was outside of the Equality Act 2010. And I'll keep coming back to it. I'll come back to it like 10 men. You know what I mean? Because what you're doing was fundamentally wrong. And Westminster Council are also doing it wrong. But before we take this apart like a pack of dogs, let's watch some humorous stuff, shall we?
If I snap my fingers, you'll forget that you were ever gay.
I was never gay.
Exactly.
Wait, no, stop.
Yes.
No, stop. You can't. I was never gay.
Okay.
No, I was never gay.
Sure.
You can't just state something, then snap your fingers, and then be like, I was never gay.
You say so.
I was never gay. Right, so I consult the oracle that is AI, and basically I just said, does the Equality Act 2010 say about me, what does it say about me using positive action? Remember, there's positive action, positive discrimination. We're not going to go deep into this because it's TDR. That's what it is, right? Basically, it allows for positive action in specific circumstances, as we know, particularly when addressing underrepresentation. It's rubbish. Now, the problem is, of course, there is two ways of doing this, and the way they're doing it is wrong. And why is it wrong? Because they're stupid. Now, I was chatting to, and I don't want to go too deep into this, I was chatting to a very intelligent bloke in Israel recently. Whatever you think about Israel, etc., don't get me wrong, this was a professor at university. He said, Tim, you've worked it out, mate. I said, what is that? He goes, you've worked it out. It's about IQ. This is the issue we have with certain people that we're up against, is the low IQ. When we start talking about this, we are dealing with people with very low intellect that are making these rules. The person that wrote this advert is a very low IQ individual that does not realise that they're not going to be helped out by the Equality Act. It won't work for them. And I'll tell you why it won't work. Because the problem is you need two people who are very similar. So similar that there's really nothing you can do between them. You literally can't hold a paper. They're absolutely the same on everything, apart from the fact they're underrepresented in the workplace. Now, the problem with this, I think, with Westminster here, I did actually look at City of Westminster. I looked at the demographic, and if you can see here, the white British in Westminster is only 28%. This is why they can't say we're looking for minorities, because the minorities are actually white people in the City of Westminster, in London, of course, with the house of our government, basically. So it has to say the global majority. It's a scam. We know it's a scam. These are low intellect people just trying to get people into jobs with them because they hold the same views. This is the truth, guys. This is why it's so funny. So basically, they can't say we need minorities, okay, underrepresented people, because the underrepresented people in Westminster are actually white people. It's brilliant. I know you love it. It's funny. We've got to laugh at it this time, mate, because we're dealing with people with such low intellect. We'll look at another funny film in a minute. Just before that, something I've noted of deep concern to me is this. Now, this is an ex-police constable who had sex with a boy 14 in car. Now, the former student police officer had sex with a 14-year-old boy in his car. This panel found that Ahmad Shaub, is that how you pronounce it? 38, would have been dismissed from Westminster Police if he had not already resigned. Now, a police officer wrote to me about this, not from Westminster, from a different force, and he said, look, morale is through the floor in the police. I said, I know it is, mate, because I've got a sister who's a detective constable, and she says the same thing. Although she's a good woman, she works very hard. Look, he was arrested by West Midlands Police, who told Westminster and this guy was suspended while an investigation took place. Why was this guy not? There was insufficient evidence to charge him and never be a police officer again. Look at the name and then accuse me of being racist, of course. I want to bring some more things to your attention. This is what's wrong with us in the UK. Look, yesterday I became British. I thought the ceremony will be nationalistic and a bit cringe until the Lord Mayor of Brighton started his speech with Assalamu alaikum. I honestly don't understand what's going on. Don't give him British citizenship. What are we doing here? Why are we doing this? Now, Rupert Lowe says something about this. Rupert Lowe is trying to find data from the Ministry of Justice on how many Pakistani rapists have been deported, are still in prison, did not serve a custodial sentence, are back in the same community as their victims, have previous convictions, or reoffended. This is a problem. I've spoken about it before. It's a Pakistani issue. Not all Muslims, of course, not all Pakistani Muslims, but the community have not really come out, have they, and spoken out against these people. I know Ben Habib has done that, and of course he was born in Karachi. He's a Pakistani Muslim himself, of course. But the majority, I haven't heard anyone else really coming out. I don't see Muslim women marching down London in the streets complaining about the men within their communities raping young white British girls. But look, the response. This is the response from the Home Office. It is not centrally identified in the data systems relevant to these questions. It is not possible to identify an offender's nationality from the centralised collated convictions data. So basically, it's just saying they can't find it. It's a cover-up. As he says down here, this cover-up must end. Yeah, we can't have blackface on here, you know what I mean? So don't you start throwing those racist spears at me, people. We know what's going on. Another quick one from Rupert here. I don't care about having a diverse culture. I want a culture that respects women and believes in freedom of speech, that rewards hard work, appreciates competence, puts his own people first, that protects his children. That's what I've said this before. That's what I care about. That's what he's saying. And he's absolutely right. And of course, I don't really know what else we're going to be doing, guys, in this country unless we start really sort of taking the fight back to our government, really, and saying this is completely and utterly unacceptable. Look at Sweden, for example. Yeah, I'm learning German, whatever, shut up, you know what I mean? I'm trying to understand these posts, and sometimes I have to obviously translate them into English because my German's not that brilliant. Everything indicates a horde of Muslim rapists have flooded into European countries and are still on their way, whether it's in Germany, Italy, Holland, or in this case, Sweden. We know Sweden is struggling, right? The same patterns are evident everywhere. Muslims dominate in rape and sexual harassment. A study shows that 63% of convicted rapists in Sweden have a migrant background. Now, you could say, well, actually, Tim, don't get me wrong then, mate. Obviously, there's, 37% here that are Swedish. It's like, well, yeah, absolutely right. But 25% of Sweden. Oh, is it actually this is the table I was looking at? Oh, okay. No, I've got a better table than that. So I'm on the wrong side. Whatever. Forgive me, guys. Look, about 20% of Sweden's population was made up of people born outside Sweden. That was in 2023. So you've got 20% of the population. Well, there we go. Look, every fourth resident in country has a foreign background. So 25% is a foreign background. So 25% of the country is committing 63% of the rapes. That's what we got to think. So minority committing majority, and we see that as well with black and white deaths in America as opposed to white on black deaths. We can have a look at that in a second if you want. But we've got to start controlling this somehow. Men who come to Sweden at age 15 or older are 6 times more likely to be convicted of rape than a Swede. Now, what we got to say is, like, what are we going to do about this? Because imagine if one of your family members was abused in this manner. What would you do? You'd blame the government for this, surely. Dog-free zones needed to make outdoors less racist. Welsh government, who are a bunch of absolute socialists, we understand that. And I mean, stuff like this, we've got to now acquiesce basically to people who shouldn't be here in the first place. It's not going to help our GDP. The country is going downhill. We all know that. We've got to do something. So look, I just thought I'd show you a few things I've been looking at this week. And I know it's like, Tim, why make a video like this? It's like, I've got to tell someone. I've got to tell someone, literally, hit the comments. Tell me what you think, guys, all right? I know it's not brilliant. I just thought I'd put something out there, really, to give you a bit of a laugh. We got to be laughing. We got to be laughing, all right? Because the whole world is falling apart. We know it is. Hey, look, take care of yourself, all right? And remember, personal values and standards, all right? Be an example for the people around you to live up to. I know it's difficult, guys. It's hard for me. I know it's hard for you, all right? I get enough emails about it every week. If you are emailing me, check your spam folder as well for the reply. Sometimes that happens. Look, I appreciate it, guys. All right, Tim Davies, Fast Jet Performance.